Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So I'm back for one of these sharing screen things because the content gods sent the bat signal to me and said, Carlos, you got to make a thing. And I actually was starting the process of preparing and making a thing after having a late lunch. But then Chasing Cardboard came down with a video response to their latest controversy. All right, here's the video that we're going to do for it, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more on the Friday stream. But I want to make a couple of things clear. Let me start off with leading with a couple of things, and then at the tail end, I'll actually talk about a few other things related to kind of autographs, authentication to it, give a little bit of context, a little bit of opinion on that, and we'll weigh in on this latest controversy. Now, here's the part at the beginning. The controversy isn't really a big deal in the grand scheme of things. It became a mountain out of a molehill, and a lot of it is the result of kind of the way that the cycle works. But I want to make clear because there are multiple parties held accountable. Is it the biggest deal in the hobby? No. It's if you're not familiar with it, it pertains to Chasing Cardboard, ties specifically from that show and that channel, and one rock autograph which was being sold on eBay, unauthenticated. And I'll get to the whole authentication thing here in a minute because I want to give a little bit of we're going to do a little hashtag scholarship here. We'll do the whole thing here. So the key here is that the card was unauthenticated. The buyer, before paying for it, went to get a quick opinion. You can do that from Beckett. PSA has a similar service and all that. It's a great service if somebody is a little bit concerned and wants to kind of cover their bases. You probably should have done that before you bid, but to be fair, you do have the option to do so. And in this case, Beckett, I believe, was the one who found it to be a little bit questionable. It was unlikely to authenticate is the way they placed it. And by the way, the whole inexact wording of that is key to the whole authentication thing that I'm talking about. That's why I want to give a little context to that at the end. So as a result, the buyer basically said, you know, I'm not so keen on this. And then it was pulled down and then it was relisted. So I want to be clear about this. At the time, and just to start off with as a high level thing, if you're a seller and you're particularly a seller who's doing this kind of in a more professional capacity, and the Chasing Cardboard guys are operating this as kind of a business in and of itself. They got the website, they got the channel, they got the show, they got all this stuff going on. So they're not ham and egger, rando, weekend warrior person listing a couple of things on eBay. They're actually doing this kind of semi-professionally. And when you're doing that, then you have to engage yourself in a certain way. Because I'm going to share with you the Chasing Cardboard response, which just dropped a couple of minutes ago, and I just watched it. And it was basically the exact opposite of what I just said. You have to engage yourself in a professional manner. You have to kind of understand that, hey, you are fairly or unfairly being held to a higher standard. And this is what's not coming across. And I'll show you a couple of examples where it's not coming across. You are held to a higher standard. And to be fair, this relatively minor thing became a bigger thing. And this is an analogy I'll come back to at the end of this video, is that you have this small ember, this little thing that happened. But then you went out and you grabbed the doorknob of the door and whooshed it open and allowed a bunch of oxygen to come in, and then all of a sudden wondered why there was a fire. You reached for the doorknob, drew oxygen in, and made it into a bigger thing than it was. And then after the fact, you're blaming the door, you're blaming the air, you're blaming everything else except the person who grabbed the doorknob and opened the door. So that it's the lack of accountability in that's the bigger issue, and people kind of gloss over that. And that video does gloss over that. That's why it's kind of funny. It's also not a surprise, given what I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. So you're not getting 3 a.m. Carlos. You're getting mid-afternoon sassy Carlos. It's very similar to 3 a.m. Carlos, though. It's kind of interesting how that works out. So let me kind of share with you Mike Baseball Collector. And I want to give a little bit of context to this as well. I have no issue with Mike Baseball Collector. I've had him on the channel a couple different times. He's joined on the Friday stream sometimes when he had a little bit of time here and there. I had him on before a couple of the Hobby Paloozas and stuff like that. I've never met Mike in person, but I've had multiple conversations with him. And I've actually said this to him one time when we were having conversations separate from the actual live or the recording that we were doing, is that I said Mike has been involved, and he's going to make reference to in this video here, of various YouTube controversies. But I did tell him, and I don't remember exactly how I phrased it, but the context of it was that a lot of times Mike creates some of the conditions that make these things into controversies where in other cases they wouldn't be a big deal. And a lot of times they'll still perceive it, and Ty does the same thing in his video. Oh, well, you guys are making a big deal out of it. It's like, no, but I didn't do, I own up to all my stuff and I do my stuff. It's like, and it becomes almost this thing where you're like taking on this victim role. It's like, well, you guys are doing this and making this into a thing. And it's like, no, you kind of made it into a thing. And then you're blaming everybody else for making it a thing. Somebody else doing the exact same thing wouldn't have this problem because they wouldn't have approached it the way you approached it. And we'll talk about that when we do in the review. So let me play a small clip from Mike's thing. I'll include a link in the description for you so you can watch the whole thing, again, so that you have it with full context. Not just a little bit, you can have the full context. We'll use a little bit of editing magic here, and I'll bring this one onto the screen. Okay, so this clip is going to be from near the beginning of it. You can see the timestamp on there. So again, I'll link this in the description so you can listen to it. But I'll play this little clip of it. I'll play a little bit of Mike's, and then I'll play the full Chasing Cardboard thing and kind of comment on it, and that's how we'll do this video. So we'll do a little reaction video, so why not? Here we go.
I do have a card I'm going to show off here in a minute, but first I want to talk about something that obviously has happened over the last couple of days. And as one who is not foreign to YouTube controversy, the Sports Card Radio over the last few days has done a couple of videos. Last night was a live stream. A couple days ago they did a video, kind of attacking Chasing Cardboard a little bit. And look, you start having any success, people are going to start firing shots. That's kind of the way our world works.
Okay, I'm going to pause there. This goes back to what I just said a couple minutes ago. You're giving the contracts, you're laying the groundwork, but you're already starting to build in the excuses. When you have success, people start firing shots. It's other people's fault. And then you're already kind of laying in a little bit of the groundwork for it's like we're the victim here. I want to make, like I said, at the end of the day, I don't care. This whole issue is relatively, it's over an autograph from The Rock. The Rock signs a little bit, but not like regularly. It's folks that collect WWE stuff. In terms of that, there aren't too many certified autographs of The Rock. It's actually very few, so they're actually very pricey when they are. And this whole thing ended up being for a $66 card. This whole multiple videos, reactions, whole thing over a $66 card. In the grand scheme of things, the smallest of small potatoes. But when you begin a conversation with, well, when you're successful, well, humble brag much, great, good for you. Then people start taking shots like, dude, just address the actual thing. Get on with it. And Ty is going to do the same thing when I get into that video. It's even worse in that one, but we'll get into it. So let me play a little bit more, and then I'll get over to Ty's one.
And I don't know these guys, by the way. I don't know the Sports Card Radio guys. I don't subscribe to their channel. I don't like to live in that world of constant negativity and calling people out. And what bothers me about that, again, from my own personal experience, is that you have people that make a judgment about you over one thing, and they don't take into account the totality of whatever it is. And the expectation is perfection in the hobby, in life, period. That's the way our world works. And unfortunately, none of us are perfect. So we all are going to have.
All right, I'm going to pause there. So I'm not going to do too much more from Mike's video because, again, Ty will do a very good job of kind of playing this. The good news is none of us are perfect. You're right. None of us are perfect. That's excuse number 2. I agree with Mike that none of us are perfect. That is 100% true. And we should take into account the totality of it. The problem is that's where you begin into but he's a great guy and you guys are just picking on him for this one thing. And it's like, okay, fine, fair enough. Then why don't we talk about a little bit more of the totality? Let's go beyond just the headline and do a little bit more. So let's do this one. This is from Sports Card Dad. So Dustin did his video, and he got a call out in Ty's video. So congratulations, Dustin. Good on you. Okay, so this is actually him taking filming with his potato on the Sports Card Radio live stream, and he's looking at the screen, and in the screen they're doing the screenshot. And here you've got a clip from Chasing Cardboard. It looks, I want to say, I'm not sure if it's Instagram or if it's Facebook or whatever. Either way, it's from a Chasing Cardboard account, and they've got the screen grab here. And I want to read this to you. I know it's small, so actually, I think I can make it a little bit bigger. Hold on. There. That's a little bit better, maybe. I know it's blurry, but I'll read it to you. So anyway, so this is a clip it from somewhere from Chasing Cardboard, effectively Ty or somebody working with him. So I want to read it to you, but I want you to listen to it in the tone. And again, this is my bigger point. My point isn't the stupid $66 card. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Like, whatever. Like, honestly, you could have blown this all over and be like, oh, you know what? Okay, let me look into it. Thanks for letting me know. Pull the card and then either authenticate it or or sell something else. There's so much other stuff. They buy collections. They could be selling a bunch of other crap and they're focused and but they relisted this card, and that's what kind of led into this whole thing. Now, does Sports Card Radio play it up for the dramatic effect? Yes. Yes, they did. Congratulations. Drama sells. Yes, we know that. And that's where Mike and Ty are going to get into this. Like, well, negativity is like, you're right, dude. Yes, you're right. That's since day one. Welcome to YouTube. You just figured that one out now. Congratulations. That's reality. But again, I'm back to my analogy earlier about the ember and oxygen in the room. You opened the door to let the oxygen in. That's you. That's your fault. And then when the air comes in and the little ember becomes a fire, well, then at least take some responsibility for being part of the process that got you to that point. And this is actually part of what I'm talking about. So here it says, apparently we're scammers now. Oh, the smallest violin playing the world's saddest song for the poor chasing cardboard guys. The victims in this entire thing. Again, there's no real victim in this. The damn card wasn't sold, so who cares? But we'll move on. Here's the scenario. I'm curious your thoughts. Appealing to his populace, to his folks. Someone you trust goes and gets an autograph from a player on a card. Okay. Then a random dude you don't know, you mean the buyer, takes a screenshot of it and sends it to another random dude over at BGS, a third-party authenticator, fair enough, and it says it's not likely to authenticate. Well, you've got a random dude you bought from, someone you trust. As far as I'm concerned, random dude gives you a card, an autograph from a player on a card, and then, yeah, so you got one random dude saying yes, one random dude saying no. So right now it's even, as far as I'm concerned. Who are you going to trust? So we're trusting random dude 1 or random dude 2? Again, it's even. At the end of the day, we decided to pull it off, never sold the card. Apparently, SCR believes we are scammers. Well, you're leaving out the part where you did relist it. If you just pulled it off the first time, well, then there's really no argument beyond that. But you did relist it. And again, the tone of this response is the point. Let me be clear about this again. I don't know Ty from Adam. I've never met the guy. I've never chatted with the guy. I feel like I said, I've chatted with Mike a little bit. And I said to Mike that sometimes he creates some of these scenarios for himself, and he's made these things into bigger controversies than they would have been otherwise. Ty has a lot of that same DNA. From what I've observed of him doing a lot of his shows and things over time. The Chasing Cardboard thing is this beautifully edited. By the way, it's a great show. Watch it, enjoy it, have a good time with it. But he's got a little bit, look, as a subject matter expert on a little bit of arrogance. As a guy who named his own YouTube channel after himself because it amused him. Ty has that streak in him. And that's okay. That's not the end of the world. It's all right. But own up to it. Understand it. Own it. Understand that's part of your makeup. That's part of your DNA. You've got that arrogance in you because responses like that are basically the point. If you were as humble as you want to tell people you are, and he doesn't say it that way, but effectively he's good guy Ty, and he's trying to explain to you why he's a good guy and why these evil people are the ones trying to take him down. If you had that level of humility, you would have the ability to really self-reflect and actually understand that you are creating some of the problem that you are complaining about. But it's not your fault. It's not your responsibility. You're the guy from Good Will Hunting where I think Robin Williams is telling Matt Damon, it's not your fault. So you've got plenty of people that'll do that for you. It's not your fault. It's never your fault, Ty. It's never you. By the way, as far as I'm aware, they run a very good business otherwise. The idea here is, oh, well, it's one incident. Yeah, I agree with you. One incident should not make or break your reputation, but it's how you handle it that is part of the equation too. And that post is not handling it. That post is compounding a relatively minor issue and extending it and making it bigger than it was. If the idea was, and when I get to his video now, we're going to have some fun because now I'm going to play his video and his side of this is his opportunity to respond directly to this. And I'm going to point out a couple of things when I play this video for you. So let's get into it. Let's do it. I've already preambled enough to give you at least some background on it. This is my style, so I'm going to do it my way. So let's go. All right. So this is the video from Chasing Cardboard. I will link you to this as well. You can watch the whole thing. It's 7.5 minutes. But I'm going to play it for you sped up just a little bit because I only have so much patience. But the title, the biggest hobby controversy. It's not the biggest hobby controversy. You're not that big a deal. You're the one we're talking about right now because we got nothing else to do. We're waiting for SGC to announce their national pricing. We're waiting for Beckett to announce their national price. Look, we got some time. But what does the headline say here? What does the title of your video say? The biggest hobby controversy is fake news. So it's all fake? You didn't sell a rock card and then have somebody question it and then relist it? That didn't happen? I think that's exactly what happened. So it's not fake news. But there's more that you're going to try to elaborate on, so fair enough. So let's listen to what the fake news part is. Again, 7.5 minutes. But I want to point something out to you as we go. So I'm not going to do 2 times speed. I know that's pretty fast for a lot of folks. Let's do 1.5. Let's compromise a little bit. I don't want to sit here for the full 7.5. Let's do it.
Love me some steak and eggs.
Ever since they found mad cow disease in the U.S., I'm not taking any chances. It can live in your body for years before it ravages your brain.
Have you ever heard that theory that negativity sells on YouTube? Negativity gets more clicks. Well, look, we've been told that since we started. Since our first video came out, we've gotten messages like, hey, if you want more clicks, you need to be a little bit more negative. Make your titles more negative. Make your content a little bit more glass half empty versus glass half full. And you'll start to suck in more viewers and get the clicks. Well, here at Chasing Cardboard, we firmly believe that that is cheap. More importantly, we believe that in this hobby, in the sports card world, there is a void that exists with good, wholesome content.
$50 homage, like t-shirt, both of those will be mailed to you.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, just so we're clear. If you go back, Card Collector 2, again, from all accounts, decent dude. He was involved in the Mark's Card thing where he took submissions that then went to Mark's Cards that then got stuck at PSA, which he bought his way out of, which he should have. He did a good job. I talked about this in the live stream. He did a good job. He isn't perfect either. But is he bad for the hobby? No. But I want to make a point. Back to Mike's point. Nobody's perfect, right? And now we got Rob Veras and good old Geoff. A lot of people love Geoff, of course. You see the little check mark, good for the hobby. Geoff is good for the hobby. So says Ty. Look at the graphic. Said so.
You guys are one of the premier card shops in the world.
Well, speaking of the Cop and Coming in twos, I figure I got these right here.
And that's a great.
Slab stocks. Look, I don't have time for each individual component of it, but there could be more jokes here. Again, I'm going to move on, but just moving on. By the way, using your own clip. Come on. Golden Age of Cardboard, that's what we're going to do. Good for the hobby. Of course it is. Come on. Okay, anyway, fine, whatever. It's a good show. Watch it. It's fine.
Curious thing about this hobby is that there's so much to talk about.
Hi, K-Dub. This is K-Dub's High Five. 5 rapid-fire questions with your favorite.
It's not easy to take your camera and turn it around and focus on the goodness of somebody else. Little mom and pop shop?
Mom and pop shop.
Is this you and your dad collecting?
That is correct.
Oh, so this is more than just a little side hobby. This is legit.
The hardest part of my career was after I pitched in '85.
Luke focused on respecting the hobby.
Her dad was always a collector from an early age.
White chocolate Denzel cousin. Everybody give him a hand of applause.
I'm a big Chemex guy, so we're weighing out the beans, the water. We got an awesome filter system.
I don't know if you guys heard, I had lung cancer.
I've always been one to want to take care of my things.
To tell that wholesome story, to unpack something that just seems so unselfish is hard. While some in the hobby might get enjoyment out of tearing others down or creating fake narratives just to make themselves feel better and to build their channel up, we're here to tell you that we're not accountable to them, and neither are you. So let me tell you a quick story. We went on the road.
2 minutes and 14 seconds. It took 2 minutes and 14 seconds that you got a Chasing Cardboard promo before we actually get to the story. I just want to point that out. Again, I'm reacting to this video. I watched it once. I just want to point out it took 2 minutes and 14 seconds to get to the goddamn point. Again, I don't care. I think Chasing Cardboard is a great show. Watch the show. It's good. It's good stuff. As far as I know, Ty seems like a decent enough dude. He's got his kids. He's a family man, all that. That's great. Here's the thing. But let me be blunt. I'm going to represent the portion of the hobby that isn't spending time hating you in the comment section because I don't hate you. I don't have any issue with you. But I'll look at it. I'll look at bullshit when it is. What it is. It's like, dude, I don't care about how swell a fella you are. I don't care at all. Congratulations. Go do your thing. Go to church. Go on missions. Do all that cool stuff. Hey man, that's great. I don't give a shit. Not even a little bit. The point is how you respond to things. And what your response was, downplaying, negativity, Chasing Cardboard promo. Oh, and now I'll talk about the thing. It's only a 7.5 minute video. You've already eaten nearly 2.5 minutes of it. How much time is actually left talking about the issue in question? Let's find out.
Road to Tennessee, and we met a guy named Rick, who Matt and I and the whole team think was one of the coolest guys that we've ever met on the road at Chasing Cardboard. For those that have met Rick in person, and some of you have, or noticed within the collection that we had in the episode, notice that he was a huge Dwayne Johnson collector. Look at some of these cards that we still have in our collection that have yet to hit our eBay store. Insane stuff. Well, part of that collection was some Dwayne Johnson autographs that he acquired from a trustworthy source. And while we were getting
a trustworthy source, what does that mean? Like I said, at the end of the video, I'll talk a little bit about the autograph thing and some of the difficulties with that segment of it. When we're dealing with autographs that are not already certified, it is murky waters at the best of times. And Ty's not an idiot. He knows this. So you already couched it with your Chasing Cardboard promo and the whole thing. It's like, we're good people, I swear. And it's like, trustworthy source. Trustworthy according to who? Based on what? I don't know who this trustworthy source is, and you're not going to tell me anyway. So how would I know they're a trustworthy source? How do I know it's not a guy in the back of the van down by the river? We have to take your word for it. We have to assume, which is fine, but I'm going to point out that if someone wants to question that, that's perfectly legitimate. Again, you're getting mid-afternoon ornery, Carlos. I'm starting to think I'm ornery all the time. It's not good. All right. In fairness, I kind of like it. I appreciate it about me. All right. Back to Ty. Back to excuses. I mean explanations.
These items ready and potentially selling them, we had people reach out for the relics and for the autos saying, hey, can we purchase these offline? This was months ago. But like any of our collections, we said, that's not going to work. We prefer to sell them through our eBay store. So we listed those couple of eBay autos, those Dwayne Johnson autos, as non-authenticated. We pointed people back to the episode, and we figured, you know what? We'll just let them end up where they end up, realizing that we're probably not going to get even close to a authenticated price. Well, fast forward a week, and a few particular people in the hobby have come out and said that, Chasing Cardboard, you're scammers. You're doing... I
didn't want to miss out on his opportunity. There's a boy, Dustin. He gets He's right in the middle of it. That's the best part. Hey, you got primo position, bro. I hope you sent him a little thank you note. You know, hey, you got in it. Okay, real quick, I want to say something. So they listed multiple autos, and then obviously the fallback of it. Just to be clear, the fallback of it, again, we're missing a couple of important key pieces of information here. The fallback of it didn't really start until the Sports Card Radio did their video and did some of the other stuff. The video didn't come until after they had listed it initially, which, by the way, you're taking your chances. I'm going to explain why again at the end. But then the question was about the authenticity. It was brought up. Then you took it down. Then you relisted it. We're skipping the relisting part. You want to put it up the first time and take your chances? So be it. But as soon as there's a question, we expect this of Golden. We expect this of a bunch of the other auction houses. He's not an auction house, but I'm still saying, when they have something and the blowout detective agency says, hey, this is questionable. I know it's in the holder, but this was originally in this. This has been altered, blah, blah, blah. Based on our suspicions and a couple of pictures, we think there's something wrong with this. We expect Golden. We expect the auction house to take it down and investigate further, get it into third-party graders' hands and figure out what's going on. That's our expectation. Our expectation, which is fine. But in this case, you as a seller who is operating this in kind of a professional-ish way, again, it's not your whole job necessarily, but it's a big chunk of thing you do with the content and the rest of it. Our expectation is as soon as there's a question in it, the next step is, hey, thanks for letting me know. Let me go look into this. That's it. That's all you got to do. By the way, I promise, I guarantee, even as much as there is peddling and negativity, and Lord knows there is, even as much as there is, I guarantee if after the initial question you take it off and then say, all right, let me look into it, and you don't relist it right away, I promise we're not having this video. You may not believe that, but I do. Like, what else is there to talk about then? All right, you had a question, you took it down, and you went to go check it out. And by the way, we're going to get to that at the end of the video. It's like, well, we kind of ended up there in the first place, but now we get to have this whole, melodrama play out. And it's like, okay, well, here we go. All right, so there you go, Dustin. You got your clip there. Enjoy.
You're doing this hobby a disservice. How dare you sell a non-authenticated auto? Well, a particular buyer who won the auction didn't pay. 2 days later came to us and said, hey, look, I took a...
They didn't pay. They're a bastard. How dare they question things?
Screenshot of your JPEG image. I sent it off to BGS, and they came back and said that your auto is likely not to authenticate. It would not be...
They also don't guarantee that. It is an opinion. PSA has one. It's called Quick Opinion, and I think Beckett does. I think it's also called Quick Opinion or something similar to that. It is an opinion, which in autographs is as valid as anything else because it's not an exact science, Ty. And you know this, Ty. It's not a science. So yes, they can render an opinion based on a picture. You rendered an opinion based on a trusted source that a guy gave you in a card and a collection you bought. I'm sorry, that's not that much better than some rando that we don't know about. Trusted source. Quotation marks. Come on. I'm not just trying to pick on Ty for the sake of picking on Ty, but come on. You're being a little bit ridiculous on that. Come on, settle down.
Be the first time I've disagreed with BGS, and I disagreed in this situation. I'd already had people reach out to me and tell me that they thought those DJ autos could potentially be real.
People. Scholarship. Who are these people? What is their expertise in authenticating and grading? We don't like Beckett's randoms thing based on a screenshot, but we're taking random... People reached out to me and said they think it's legitimate. People? Did they base it on a screenshot? Because if they did, what's the difference then? I'm being serious. Like, what's the difference then? If some people say, I think it's legit. Okay. Did they look at a screenshot or did they handle it? Like, thank you for elaborating. He's not going to elaborate.
And I relisted Dwayne Johnson autos. Then the floodgates opened.
By the way, the editing on this video is on point. I actually really have enjoyed the editing on this. On point. Just want to say.
You're a scammer, Ty. How could you do this to the hobby? You're out to get everybody. And those negative clicks started rolling in on a particular YouTube channel.
I'm not here to roast anyone, believe it or not.
What?
Do one of your rants. Do I rant, Jiminy? I think you're always rant. These things are hard to open.
But see, here's where the story takes a little twist. You see, we're okay with admitting our mistakes. I have made my fair share of mistakes in life.
So far, 4 minutes and a half in the video, he has not admitted a single mistake. But I'm glad he is good with admitting his mistakes. Hasn't admitted to a single one yet, but he is willing to admit to his mistakes, people. Note that. Thank you.
Whether it's from family, from business, from buying collections, even from selling on eBay, I have made my fair share of mistakes. Anyone that's had an actual conversation with me, you know, the type where you don't hide behind a Twitter handle or a YouTube screen name, and you actually have a conversation with somebody, will know that I will always go above and beyond to make things right with people. If I sense something's wrong, I'll just do what I need to do to make it right. So that leaves me with a very interesting decision to make. What do I do with these
Unless it involves not relisting something that's already been put into question once. But yes, go on.
Autos from Rick's collection. I have 2, in particular, Dwayne Johnson autos and a Ty Cobb auto, all 3 that I just decided not to authenticate and sell them as raw. Are they real? Are they fake? Like I said, I've had others reach out to me and tell me they think these Dwayne Johnson autos might be real. I've had others say that I'm as crooked as Al Capone.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
So it seems to me that there's really only one solution. I decided to take the 3 autographs from Rick's collection, the 2 Dwayne Johnson autos and the 1 Ty Cobb auto, and send them off to PSA for authentication. They might come back as fake, and it's all good. I am happy to admit that myself and even Rick were duped, and the 30,000-foot observation that BGS made was right. All good. But 1, 2, or even 3 of them might come back as authentic. And if that's the case, I have the opportunity to run around screaming, "I told you so!" But that's...
Question. Do you still do the I told you so if the one that comes back, again, hypothetically, if one or multiple come back as legit, and they're the ones that were not in the eBay auction, are we still going to run around saying I told you so? Because we're only talking about the one. You're talking about 3. So if we go 1 for 3, but it's not the correct one, are we still doing the victory lap thing? If it's 2 out of 3, except for the one that was in the eBay auction, we're still doing the victory lap? Because that'd be 2 out of 3 would be pretty good. Ty Cobb auto, that'd be pretty sweet. That's pretty solid. And then there's another rock auto, but it wasn't the one that was in question in this conversation. The one in question in conversation was the one. The only one that is really relevant to this conversation is the one. Again, I'm going to point out that there's a bunch of extra information being included in it, which is fine. Context is great. But the only thing we're discussing is literally the one. The Ty Cobb auto wasn't in the original discussion with the videos and stuff, and the other rock one was also not in the discussion, but it's literally the one card. So if the other 2 come back legit, that has nothing to do with the one in the original question. Just want to throw that out there.
No fun. So what I'm going to do is any one of these autos that comes back authenticated, I'm going to give away to you. If you are a subscriber to our free email list, and after these come back as authenticated, I'm going to randomly pull a couple email addresses and give these cards to you. And to sweeten the pot, I've decided to send these 3 Dwayne Johnson refractors to SGC to get graded. If none of those autographs come back authenticated, I'm going to give the highest graded refractor away to one of you as well. Because here's what's interesting about the world that we live in. You have the opportunity to choose the perspective that you take in life. You don't have to let somebody else decide it for you. So I highly encourage you to take a step back and evaluate the perspective, the lens that you're letting drive how you look at life. All of you subscribers have been absolutely amazing to us, and we thank you so much for your support. We look forward to sending you some really cool cards. Keep chasing.
Brock, ask you something. You ready to go out there and whoop some? You ready to go out there and whoop candy?
I could not agree more. I could not agree more. Ty was bang on at the end. By the way, you notice he never took responsibility for anything at all during the course of that entire video. Just want to point that out. Also, hey, prizes. That's cool. Buy your way out of it. Knock yourself out. I'm not on the email list, so I'm not eligible. I do subscribe to the channel, though. Check it out. The Jason Cardboard episodes, they're good. Now, I think he's 100% right. You should look at it through the lens. You should do your own diligence, and I did. I took the totality of it and go that I still see a guy who doesn't want to take responsibility for a very basic, small, minor transgression. That, again, back to the analogy, he brought the oxygen into the room. He made it into a bigger deal than it was because he opened the door for that possibility. If it had just been shut down at the very beginning, all you had to do was when there's a question, okay, let me look into it. Basic customer service 101. All you got to do is say, okay, I'll look into that. And then before you go relist it, let me go get my own second opinion and whatever. And then, hey, this second opinion, you could go to JSA, you could have gone to PSA, you could have gone to whatever. If it's a rock auto that's legit, it's worth it. It's worth more than $66. I'm not one of those people who is sitting there with pitchforks and torches trying to take down Jason Cardboard. I'll repeat it. I think the content is excellent. I think it's very well done, and I think they've done a good job with it. I hope they do well with buying their collections and the business they built off of that. That's great. I have no issue with any of that. I don't care. But at the same time, it's like, that's BS victim garbage that came off of that. That video was, oh, it's not our fault. They're picking on us, those mean people on the internets. Come on. Whatever. Anyway, great. So hopefully, go check out the video. Now you know. If you're subscribed and you give them your email address, you can win a sweet cash prize. And by that I mean cards, not cash prize. But the Ty Cobb auto would be great. That'd be pretty good. So that'd be good. Okay. I wanted to give a little context here at the end. This is already a long video, but I'll finish off with a couple quick things. The reason why autographs are very complex, and this is why the reason why, like I said, you entered into dangerous waters. Again, Ty, take responsibility. You waded into dangerous waters with the whole autograph thing. Is that it's not an exact science. There are variations. All you got to do, if you're not convinced, is go get a piece of paper, grab a pen, and start writing and do your own signature. You do your own signature and write it 100 times. You don't have to do this exercise, but you'll get my point. Do it 100 times. And what you're going to discover is that there are certain consistencies and certain things in your autograph, but they're going to be slight variation. You're not a machine. That's what auto pens are. You cannot replicate your own autograph that perfectly. An environment, situation, how much time the person has, what it is, that's all going to play into it. So you can have a legitimate auto that someone got done in person, in front of their face, that would not pass authentication. By the same vein, you could have something that passed authentication because they're like, well, it seems consistent with it, and it turns out to be AutoPen, or it turns out to be secretarial, it turns out to be all these different things. The whole autograph landscape is so complex because there are just so many fake autographs out there. And I want to finish with an example that I'll give you. So here is an autograph on an index card. This is an autograph for Frank Mahovlich. If you're familiar with the hockey thing, Hockey Hall of Famer, Frank Mahovlich. I got this at the 2000 All-Star Game, which was in Toronto. And the reason I'll give you the example, the story behind this one. So this was at the 2000 All-Star Game, and Frank Mahovlich was doing a radio spot in the convention. And what they were doing is they actually had like a card show / convention that was associated with the All-Star Game, like the Fan Fest. They did this. This is 23 years ago now. It's been a long time. At the time, they had lineups for autographs, including Johnny Bower and some other great players, Hall of Famers, and the whole 9 yards. Well, Frank Mahovlich was doing a radio spot. And I didn't have any Frank Mahovlich stuff with me or any team stuff that would make sense, but I had a bunch of index cards just in case and Sharpie pens. And when he was doing that radio spot, I noticed that and I said, well, let's just see. Maybe I can get lucky and grab an autograph. So I happened to be there. Literally, I had the index card and I had the Sharpie pen. And I was in exactly the right spot because as soon as he finished the radio spot, Frank Mahovlich got up. And he didn't sit there and sign for a bunch of people. He literally grabbed my Sharpie, grabbed the index card, quickly signed his name, handed it back to me, and then ran. It was hilarious. So this is the only autograph from that radio spot. He might have done an autograph signing elsewhere, but this is the only one from that radio spot. So I had the story. I was there. It was me who handed him the index card. I got back the index card. This is the one from 23 years ago. Here's a question. Do you think it would pass authentication? I can't guarantee that. I don't know. But I know for 1,000% certainty Frank Mahovlich signed it because he was standing right in front of me when he did it with my Sharpie. And this is my index card. For the hell of it, now I'm inspired. Now I think I'm going to send this one in. I'm curious if it'll go. And actually, in some ways, it would make my point if it actually failed authentication. Because I know it's legit, but it's not an exact science, and that's the point. And as a seller, to kind of conclude my point, that's why I say, like, it's not exact science. Autographs are tricky, even at the best of times, because you're looking for certain characteristics. It depends on how good quality. And by the way, as somebody gets older, maybe their autograph gets a little shakier. It's still legitimate. It's still the same person, but it changes over time as a person ages, as they have more time, as they shorten their autograph. You know, maybe they become more famous, and all of a sudden they're not signing their full name anymore. Now their autograph's shortening up. These are all legitimate things that happen. That's why I say this is a very murky area to enter into. If you're a seller that's buying collections the way that the Chasing Cardboard guys are, the way the tie is, autographs are a weird area to enter into. They should know better than playing games with that. Something like the Star, somebody like the Star Caliber of The Rock, is almost always worth taking the extra step to authenticate. Why leave it to chance? Why even leave it to question? And from a customer service perspective, if there's any question about it, then I'm afraid you're going to have to do it. And by the way, you might not agree with Beckett's assessment. Hey, Beckett's screwed up on a lot of things, no doubt. But at least they have an autograph service. That is a service for the customer to give them some comfort, some assurance. Would you have complained about it if they had said, yeah, we think it's all right, and then the person had finished with the transaction and we never hear anything about it? Did you have any issue with it then? No. It's only because they said they had questions about it. And then your response is, well, some people told us they think it's legit. The guy got it from a trusted source, and we like the guy, so therefore it must be good. But we put it in and we didn't put any warranties. All these things are true, but they're all cop-outs to avoid the general issue that, hey, you decided to take a little bit of a shortcut, you got called out on it, and then you got snippy. And you made a very well-edited video. I like the snippiness of the video, man. I love the sass. Love the sass. Big fan of the sass over here on this channel. Big fan. But look, you're just making excuses. 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 14 seconds before you actually got to the goddamn point. And put a Chasing Cardboard promo in there. And then finally you get around to the point and it's like all the mitigating, you literally shovel all the mitigating circumstances. And at no point do you take responsibility for anything. But now you're going to go send it for authentication. You could have done that the first time. A Ty Cobb auto? The Rock autograph? Why wouldn't you send it for authentication? It's worth more authenticated. I don't feel like I'm being outlandish here. Like, am I losing my mind? Why not? Like I said, I don't need to authenticate this. I know it's legit. But for the hell of it, hey, why not? You know what? I'm in a mood. Why not? I'll do it. Let's see what happens. And if they say no, I'm going to laugh because I'm not surprised. I can't be. This is the nature of this side of the business. But anyway, all right, that's enough out of me. More videos coming up on the channel. We'll do Friday live stream. I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit because now it's a topic du jour. Thanks, Ty. That's on you, by the way. This is your fault for making it a thing when it didn't have to be a thing. Sports Card Radio guys just picked up the ball you dropped. You fumbled the ball, they picked it up. Did they then, do an extra celebratory touchdown dance after? You damn right they did. I'm not surprised. But don't fumble the football and we don't have this conversation. This is on you. Take some responsibility. Get a role model. All right, moving on. Anyway, like I said, more videos coming up on the channel, whatever. I'm sure some people will be mad. I don't care, guys. I stand by this because this is the angle I take on it. Both Mike and Ty over time have been in their fair share of controversies. A lot of times they have created more out of it than it originally came of it. And a lot of times it's their response to it that sometimes also makes it worse. They've done that before because Ty had the thing where he cracked out the 52 tops mantle, which was the dumbest thing. It was good content. But then don't act all defensive when people are like, what the hell are you doing? Deservedly so. You're being ridiculous. What the hell are you doing? Oh, but I've cracked thousands of these. Good for you. You're not above reproach. You're not above criticism. Stop being a victim. Quit it. Anyway, like if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Snarky Carlos out. See you later.